Asynchronous versus blocking sync. This is an example of an asynchronous pipeline with 3 stages. Each stage takes a little bit of time to produce a result. This is called propagation delay. After the first stage runs, we can look at its result. After the second stage runs, we can look at the result too, but it's delayed by 2 units of time for the first stage delay and 1 more for the second stage delay. After the third stage runs, we can look at the result. We see 3 units of propagation delay. A blocking sync pipeline works like most programming languages today. We can think of the stages as nested function calls. The first stage does not produce a result until the third stage has returned to the second stage, and the second stage has returned back to the first stage. If we sample the output of the first stage, it takes 3 units of time before we can see a result. If we look at the control flow, we can see what happens. In an asynchronous pipeline, the first stage produces a message, drops it off, and continues doing what it was doing, and then we can sample its output. Likewise with the second stage. It gets alerted that there is an input. It does something with the input, produces a result, and drops it into the pipeline, and then continues on doing what it was doing. We can sample the result at that point. The control flow for a blocking sync pipeline, though, is that the first stage blocks and waits until the second stage is done, but the second stage calls the third stage and waits until it's done. So the first stage has to wait for 1 unit of time for its own propagation delay, and then 2 more units of time for the second and third stages to finish. The problem with this is that the behavior of the first stage depends on stages further in the pipeline. If we were to add a 4th stage in the pipeline, the first stage would have to wait for 4 units of time before producing an output. You can contact me on the Programming Simplicity Discord if you want to comment or ask more questions.